Greetings, this is Jazz for Jazz Reviews with the heavily requested, Seriously Infected Top 10 Zombie Games. Over the span of 30 years, the very term zombie has become somewhat of a grey area. We have the Dawn of the Dead, rigor mortis inflicted, slow-moving zombies. But through modernization of the genre, more common now are the fast-moving, arm-flailing, more agile undead. But there are technical and conflicting definition problems that clearly need to be addressed in this video before the inevitable zombie apocalypse is upon us. Kicking off at number 10. A long time ago, in a land far, far away, is the little spiky-head moron with a water gun. It's Zombie Ate My Neighbors, developed by LucasArts, published by Konami in 1993. This 16-bit gem is a co-op classic, touching upon all kinds of stupid B-movie styled monsters and Halloween themes. It was a ton of fun, with 55 action-packed levels and tight responsive controls. Having been released a good few years before the Resident Evil franchise was born, Zombies Ate My Neighbors was one of the very first zombie games that were actually any good. It received excellent scores and was praised for its cheesy sense of humor. At number 9. Who remembers this one?
The House of the Dead.
It's the on-rail light gun shooter, the series famously remembered as the arcade game of the 90s. House of the Dead spawned numerous sequels, spin-offs, and the most recent Overkill prequel.
What's up, motherfucker?
But no matter the game, the constant in-your-face, flesh-eating zombie carnage never faltered. Suitably, the game never failed to take all your money as a kid, because most of the games are insanely difficult to fight through. But the battle continued onto consoles like the Sega Saturn and Dreamcast, onwards to the PlayStation 2 and 3, as well as the Xbox and Nintendo Wii. So the fast-paced zombie action has held its own to this very day, even with the most recent title, Typing of the Dead. At number 8. Most zombie titles will only ever skim the surface of what it is to live in the new world. Not this one though, State of Decay, based on securing a safe haven in the 16 kilometers of shattered real estate. It's not necessarily about the zombie action, as it is the survival of them. Coming to this Xbox arcade game with nothing but a lust for killing zombies may leave one massively underwhelmed.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god!
But looks can be deceiving. Despite many a rough edge, the game nailed the role-playing survival themes of decision-making in a civilization gone wrong. Recruiting new survivors may strike the question of resources, and if it's actually worth feeding what could turn out to be the weak link in your homestead. After all, your character only gets one shot at this, and once you die, you've got to start again. In building and fortifying a strong community, the player becomes heavily invested in the stronghold they've built, as well as immersed in the risk assessment of every action.
Break his fucking skull!
Zombies can be very dangerous in numbers, and despite some very crummy game polish, the Xbox arcade title realized the untapped potential of the genre, and what it truly means to live in the zombie apocalypse.
I need a guardian angel!
That ain't gonna work.
At number 7. The game that grasped the Wild West and gave it an entirely new meaning for its downloadable content. It's the genius that is Red Dead Undead Nightmare.
But it'll take more than an apocalypse to take me down.
Released as a standalone title with a brand new campaign of finding the cure for zombiness, Marston is tasked with defending the same familiar towns and characters with a fresh supply of guns that fire mutilated zombie parts. In addition to unicorns and notably exotic horses of the apocalypse to tame. Not to mention a rabid bunch of zombie animals, be it the bats, wolves, or bears, as well as a fully comprehensive Sasquatch to track down and kill.
Oh, I will, you foul creature of the night.
The game even featured the same open-world multiplayer, with new modes including the Last Stand mode of Overrun, pitting 4 players out against as many waves of zombies as they can handle.
Blood will only keep you alive for
so long.
Who but Rockstar have the balls to create something as crazy as this?
What's going on?
The world's turning, John Marston, and the moon with it. Woohoo!
At number 6. In what game can you befriend someone in the morning, to fight alongside, bond and bleed with, only to have that son of a bitch blow a massive hole in your head at night? Yeah, it's Daisy. Created by Dean Hall, Daisy was a multiplayer mod for Arma 2, now half transformed into the standalone game that developers are still endlessly working on. With the promise of plunder, equally matched with the chance of dying a sudden death, Daisy is terrifying. With no real objectives or hope of escape, I see Daisy as a social experiment to see how mankind would interact with each other if push comes to shove.
I don't speak German. I don't care, I'm leaving.
It's not the zombies that pose the biggest threat here. Have you ever found yourself waiting in line at the post office or supermarket, just wondering, analyzing, but surely building a pure hatred for the person in front of you? The very same thoughts are with the person standing directly behind you. People don't like strangers.
Stop.
And in the gritty 225 kilometers squared Russian lands of DayZ, the bulk of players will not take the chance to trust in other humans. As buggy as DayZ was, and still is, there is no denying that what this mod captured was pure magic. A depressing but realistic take on true zombie and individual survival. A canvas laid down by Arma 2's engine that plays more like a zombie simulator, and now constantly evolving through the development of DayZ Standalone. At number 5. Gaming is the prime example of a scapegoat used in the media. But every once in a while, something will blow the anti-gaming crowd to smithereens. The Walking Dead is a testament as to how video games can forge a compelling, meaningful link to its audience. Adapted from Robert Kirkman's comic.
What's your name?
I'm Clementine. This is my house.
Hi, Clementine. I'm Lee.
The Walking Dead is an episodic point-and-click adventure that went on to share in both the comic and TV show's success. Immersed in the same graphic novel art style, it's the interpersonal connections between characters and the emotion it will invoke in you as a player that left gamers with a title that received a bunch of Game of the Year awards.
What do you think it's about?
What Chuck said.
What Chuck say?
That what happened to Duck would happen to me.
The fuck he did?
Swear.
Sorry.
The decisions made by the player will go on to affect these relationships and create slightly different deviations for each player.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say any of this and give you a chance to walk away, which you ought to do right now.
For the package and a game of a smaller budget, the impact the first season had on the zombie genre was huge. And above all, it nailed the sense of desperation and the ever-growing feeling of death.
Shit.
At number 4. In chopping zombies in half by katana, or to stupidly beat them with toy lightsabers before throwing bowling balls and frisbees at their heads. In what game has this ever been possible before Dead Rising 1? Based in the open-spaced, zombie-infested shopping mall of Willamette, Colorado.
Population 53,594. Distinguishing characteristics? Jack shit.
And trapped with a variety of nutty survivors and maniac psycho bosses to contend to.
I don't allow vandalism in my store!
Our main character, Frank West, is on a mission to unsolve the mystery of the outbreak, as well as build upon the creative works of becoming a master photographer.
I've covered wars, you know.
For the time of 2006, the number of zombies on screen was nothing short of unbelievable. Technology had never allowed this many AIs on screen at once, but these numbskulls were indeed the rigor mortis inflicted and ridiculously stupid zombies that made Dead Rising such a joy to play. It definitely had its setbacks, but all kinds of violence and mass murdering could be achieved, with more believable hordes of zombies to decapitate.
Fantastic.
Can I get any of you cunts
At number 3.
a drink?
Getting crazier and crazier. Left 4 Dead.
Hold up.
In truth, this spot is reserved for 1 and 2, which are equally as cherished. Turtle Rock Studios created something everybody had been waiting for, and together with Half-Life developers Valve, they delivered a highly refined style of gaming that suited the fast-paced action. As one of 4 human survivors, Left 4 Dead was predominantly co-op orientated. The tactical coordination, or mindless screaming on mic, only inflated the intensity levels of fighting off sprinting zombies. Or the annoying jockeys of the second game, as well as the witches, which were truly horrifying in their own right. As the fully featured and more beefed up sequel arrived on the scene, the experience quickly became one of the most addicting multiplayers on the market, requiring fast reflexes, great teamwork, and the constitution to deal with every tense situation that the game threw at you. Getting very close now at number 2. A game subject to the interpretation of what really makes a zombie a zombie. The Last of Us. According to the Zombie Survival Guide, slow-moving zombies are in a basic sense technically dead predators. But fast-moving zombies are usually humans that are still technically alive, but radically transformed mentally and physically by a mysterious viral infection. A fungal virus in the case of The Last of Us. The infected may not be the subjects of the reanimated dead, but to disqualify this game from the list would be to knock out both Left 4 Dead and DayZ with it. The infected appear and very much act as the zombies that want to rip the sheer flesh from Joel and Ellie's necks. Blending survival and action elements to tell a character-driven story in a world decimated by the outbreak led to mass critical acclaim. The game was best received for its riveting, emotionally resonant story, with the ever-growing bond between the characters Joel and orphan Ellie at a considerable age gap. With uncomfortably necessary violence, Naughty Dog had implemented a number of major themes in the environments reclaimed by nature in a demented style of doom and gloom. But it was beautiful, with a combat system just as satisfying and polished as the rest of the game. And as one of the best games I've ever played, The Last of Us went down pretty well with me too. And finally, at number 1. But just before climaxing, a few honorable mentions go out to Dead Island. Plants vs. Zombies. And the Call of Duty Nazi zombie modes, which, to be fair, deserve some recognition despite not being actual full games. But conquering my list for the top 10 zombie games is a venture to the very roots of what started the whole zombie craze. Resident Evil 2.
What have we got here?
The first game carved a way for tons of inspired developers to build upon the very concept of survival horror, originally coined by Resident Evil in 1996. But come 1998, it was the second game that blew me away, with an atmosphere all the more fulfilling, and a more cinematic story presentation with real voice actors this time around as opposed to the original.
Whoa! What is it?
What? Oh! Oh no!
With a maze of claustrophobic hallways and underground labs to navigate through. Our heroes, Leon and Claire, find themselves in a nightmare that gamers remember as one of the most spooky experiences in the whole of horror. With an abundance of intriguing puzzles and monsters, Resident Evil 2 was the perfect balance between horror and action. With limited saves and ammunition, Res 2 was as much a tactical mission of real skill as it was the engrossing ride of freak T and G virus mutations that provided for some truly chilling moments with Mr. X, for example, that will track the player down at the precise key moments. Through multiple scenarios of 4 character perspectives, there is an undeniable level of weight behind this game.
What was that?
It was a true champion of its time, and without a game of such methodical brilliance in pure and simple gameplay terms, we may not have had the games that we've come to take for granted that followed the success of the Resident Evil franchise. And not to mention the most legitimate and truest zombies that gamers have ever faced in zombie titles.
Game over.
This has been Jazz for Jazz Reviews with the top 10 zombie games. The main attraction for zombies in video games may very well be the killing. But that's not to say there's not a whole lot of other factors in play with this new world of the undead. For more top 10s just like these, please do subscribe and stay tuned to the channel. Go ahead and leave your top 10 suggestions in the comment section below. You can follow me all you want on Twitter. But until next time, I'll see you in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.